Hey folks, Bob Paff here. We're going to get ready and go live a little bit after 6. Really excited. Hope you're tuning in to the Bob Paff Show on WCBM 680 AM. Give us a call. We have a lot of great folks here tonight that you're going to want to talk to. So give us a call at 800-922-6680 if you're outside of the listening area. We've got folks from California and Florida and Ohio. And who's weighing in right now? Catherine Booth. Folks from all over the place. So I'm so excited and so thrilled that you're all tuning in. You're sharing. We're changing Baltimore. We're changing lives. It's a positive, upbeat variety show with lots of great guests on here. So if you're local, 410-922-6680. So we're going to be coming back to you in just a little bit. Hang in there. Everybody, this is Kat, American Foundation Suicide Prevention. Kat, I'm glad you see. I forgot. Look at this. We got a full house here. Chairs anywhere. Max, Catherine, how are you guys out there? Thanks for tuning in.
Put a description on it. The buttons.
Does it really matter? I mean, if you unlock it over.
Doesn't matter, but it's nice to get in the habit.
Yeah. All right,
so what's the number to call in, Bob?
410-922-6680. So I get, just so you guys know, the calls come in here, and then Anita, who's my producer, who's not here yet, will tell me who's on the line.
When you're live, make sure you share it with me.
Oh, yeah.
No. What we could do, you got something going on?
I just have to pick up my baby.
Yeah. You're going to talk up, so I'll probably throw it to you then early, so then you can go. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Rodney Branch, it's going great. Tune in and listen to us tonight. Thanks for being with us.
I just want to thank you for what you're doing. I listen to you and your strength, and obviously you're trying to prevent this from happening. All we're really asking for, nobody's against immigration. We just want it to be legal. We want to be able to vet the people that come into this country. They've got to be able to take care of themselves, and we want to know that they have the best interests of this country and love of this country that we have. And they're not going to be a burden or a threat to any of our citizens that are here. And we don't have control of it now. But anyway, Steve, thank you for being with us. Our thoughts and prayers
Where'd Taylor go?
you, sir. You're a great American. And
Taylor, good job on this Maryland news stuff. Looks great.
yeah.
Thank you. In Baltimore this week, in this past week, 10 deaths have been treated to homicide. Ooh.
800-941-SEAN, toll-free telephone number. A lot more of this tonight on Hannity, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel.
Is that Instagram? Okay, Garcia.
But you've got to listen to me. The new board games are amazing, and
Karen's
there's
already
one
working.
you've got to try. It's the Wits and Wagers party game. It's so simple to learn. You can play it with anybody, any age.
Taylor, is Alex definitely coming? Do you know? Or
It's like 5 minutes
out
out.
there that brings your family together.
We'll get him in, tuck him in the corner.
Go to your local Target. I highly recommend you get it. Wits and
Kat, you've done this before because you guys have the guy at WPOC or whatever, right? Who does some? Have you done this show?
Yeah, but I did that talk show with coworkers.
Okay.
So Michael J.
Yeah.
If for any reason, I don't need a headset. That's it. I mean, that's just for the callers.
Well, it's the callers that hear the show, but you also hear it if you don't have
If
a
I need to
headset on.
talk
You're
in
hearing
there,
it.
I can just share his
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can just, yeah.
Varidesk.com/radio. That's varidesk.com/radio.
Hey, Kip. Folks, call in. Let me give you those call-in numbers again. 800-922-6680 if you're out of the area here. And you can catch the show, download it on your iPhone or your Android at WCBM 680 AM, the Bob Paff Show. Christian, right? It must be, because you two are the only two dressed up.
How's it going?
Whatever, all right? I was going to say, can I buy a car from you after we leave? But this is how you're about it. Only a used car. I'm like, man, right, guys? I mean, I'm more of a boob shirt kind of guy. I did that whole dressed up thing for 30 years. I don't have to do it anymore. All right.
What up?
Hey.
Hi, Hassani.
Hey, Hassani, how are you? You'll just figure out where you need to shoot from or what you need to do?
Do they call you Manolo from Scarface?
So guys, I'm going to be very fluid. So when we go, you'll see when we're on the air, I'm going to introduce the show. I'm going to thank sponsors. We're going to get Kat in really quick. We got a lot of moving parts here tonight, as you can see. Kat's with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. The big walk in Baltimore is November 3rd. So I'm going to let Kat talk, and then she's got to go. And so we're going to be all over the place. You guys, when we kind of finish, I don't. You're welcome to go if you want to go. Most people find they like to stay because I'll talk about other issues, and I might say, Tony, how do you feel about that? You know, and so if you want to weigh in, you want to stick around, we'll do it that way. It's entirely up to you guys. Okay? So I'm going to go to you guys at, so we have a lot of breaks, and you'll know what's going on, and I'll tell you when we're coming to you. You'll know before. It's really easy, and I'll make it real. I mean, it'll be very comfortable for you guys, really. Tony, have you done this before? Have you guys done this before? Yeah.
I was actually in the Harvard Media a few days ago, but it was a recording, so it was that much easier.
Okay. Just pretend this is not here. Remember, nobody's filming. I mean, he's filming, but it's a whole different thing, so it's not, yeah.
Yes. His and then share.
Thanks for bringing all those This is my bank, and that was my walk. Put all the energy in that, so that's why I'm a little bit drained now. But yeah. 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 But I realize discussing your retirement can be stressful. Yeah, I income strategies to boost your savings, IRAs, 401ks, and maximize your so call Ron at 410-266-1120.
Yeah, because the store's going to be closed. That's fine with me. It's fine with me. I don't use that trash can.
Do you want to stand here? Is that more space?
I think he wants to get those guys, so he wants to get them. Hey, Don Lawrence. Hey guys, look at this. I'm going to cover my face. Look at this. Bacon, bagels, and boobs. Cancer prevention. Here we go. You want one of these? Which one of these do you want? The bacon, the bagels, or the boobs? So we got this, right? Here we go. You can have all three.
Dad, what's the caller number again?
410-922-6680. 6680.
That's what
Alex is here too. Jeez. This is like a party.
I would set it up here and then share it with me, Karen, and then we'll...
Tony, next time we do this, we have a big crowd. Bring bagels or something. I mean, right?
I didn't know you had all these crowds.
I didn't know either. It just grew. It grew as the week went on. It grew.
Every Saturday morning, Taylor and I order THB for breakfast.
So my daughter, my 16-year-old, she said, "Dad, can you get me a job at THB?" And I said, "Probably." She said, I know. See that? We're gonna talk. We're gonna be prepared. We're gonna talk about that kind of stuff. She's great, and personality plus. I mean, oh my God, she's right, Isabel.
She's the greatest.
See, she's the greatest. Right. That's what she said to me. "Dad, can you get me a job at THB?" I said, "Yeah, but you got to do a really good job, Isabel."
Right.
I will say, you guys are always have enough staff where you don't get slow. I like that. Almost overstaffed. I like that.
You know that they were in Annapolis one?
Yes. Yeah, and I tell you how we discovered this, because Tony listened to the first show when I talked about suicide prevention. He sent me a text when we were at Cipriano having dinner saying, "Oh my God," because I think you're director of operations, right? Is it his son? Yeah, killed himself. And so that was the connection. So yes, I did. How old was he? How old was his son? 22. Really? Taylor, you got a spot over here?
Do you need me here?
Alex and
Because I can, if it's too packed, I can just kind of watch outside.
No, I mean you want to be in, so why don't you
Alex,
grab a chair and sit over there in the corner? I mean, you're going to want to be part of it. Hey, Alex. How are you, man? Thank you.
You and Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Everybody, this is Alex.
Alex Mavroulis, everybody. She's gonna be taking pictures and stuff.
That's how popular we are now. See what's happening like that? Come in during the week, you won't see all this.
Have you ever been in this studio?
Hey, Rose, thank you so much. Really appreciate all you guys tuning in. We've got an exciting show for you tonight. Please call in. Again, remember the number is 410-922-6680 or 800-922-6680. Tony, I didn't send you that new commercial, but we corrected that. So, okay, so you'll hear it. Yeah, okay, you'll hear it.
That's right, $5. Here's what you do. Just go to forhims.com, FORHIMS.com/big and get started for just $5 while supplies last. Forhims.com/big right now. Forhims.com/big. See website for full details. Not all services through the HIMS platform. Available in all 50 states.
Here's
what real people are saying about Congressman Andy Harris. Keith Grappius of Krabby Grove.
Andy works for our district because he looks for solutions to problems. Congressman Harris understands that he can help me as a small business.
Guys, putting this is a very political station, but the show is not a very political show. There's enough of that stuff going on that I don't need to add to that traffic. So I've decided to go in a different direction. Right? There's enough of that. Well, plus I follow Hannity. I mean, so he's got a huge, syndicated show, and I think he follows Rush, and then boom, and then there's me. So it's a great lead-in, and I don't need to get more of that. Blah 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 blah. This is not my thing.
An Instagram TV, Instagram Live.
Not the TV.
I'm trying to set it up. Isn't that the TV? Isn't that what it is, though? Can I add a title or anything?
Apparently, Taylor was telling me that Hannity was trashing this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going to see him in Washington at the National Press Club on Wednesday, and Hannity was just trashing him. Deborah Chandler is out there. Julie Slick! Julie, how are you? Down in New Orleans. Thank you for tuning in. Tell Michelle I said hello. Give her my best. Love you guys. Miss you.
Can I share that with anyone? No. I mean, I honestly just want them to be on it.
Guys, we're getting ready. We're about 6 or 7 minutes away from airtime, so...
Dad, I'm gonna also set my phone up. I'm gonna have an Instagram.
What?
I'm gonna have Instagram Live.
Okay.
On you.
Cool.
So you don't need that clock in front of you, do you?
This? I don't even know that. No, I don't.
Everybody, it's
Everybody, this is Anita. Anita's really the boss.
Hey, hello.
Anita runs everything. Thanks, Anita.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. All right, guys, remember, bring it. We're on radio, not television. Okay, so people can't see your voice. I got to hear it. You don't have to scream in, but be enthusiasm, excited about what you do, excited to be here, right?
Excited to communicate the win.
You're excited to communicate to win. You know how important that is to me, right?
It is.
All right.
Keep running. Oh, thanks, dude.
So you're just basically we're going to talk about the walk and anything else that you want to...
Yeah, I just want to point out the honor beads.
Okay.
Just want to talk briefly of that,
I'm just going to throw it to you. You got a couple things you want to say. We've got a huge wall coming up, Team Paff. We'll talk about Team Paff and all that stuff. And Kat, what our listeners need to hear is kind of basically what I'm gonna do.
Make sure you get yourself on both of those screens.
Make sure I what?
Make sure you're on both of those screens.
Okay.
Because we're live on Instagram. A lot about Paff out there today.
Oh, we're live now?
So I'm live on. Say your Facebook Live and then share it with me. Because yeah. So, share it with me and Karen.
Yes, but just everything too. Maybe like 30, 40 seconds. 30 seconds the other one.
There's nothing small about your business. Your passion, your hours.
So just so you guys know, Christian, Zach, I'm going to go to these guys. So I'm going to go to Kat. I'm going to go to you. I'm going to pull you in. You guys might chime in because we're going to small business stuff. We'll do Fairway. We'll you guys in, but we'll talk. I want to talk about related things. You know, service and you guys are small business owners, so we're going to do a lot of small business owner kind of stuff. All right.
To experience relief from muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. This non-greasy foam has proven to relieve muscle cramps fast.
Type it in and then make sure you share it.
TheraWorks Relief can also prevent.
Hey Jen, Bill York's tuning in. Joan Jenkins, go Cathedral Mustangs. Hey Joan, how are you? I love all you guys tuning in. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me.
Get TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com.
WCBM News Time 6:03. I'm Michael Filippelli in the 680 WCBM Maryland News Center.
You're gonna need this for the call.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on. There's a common theme. Shot multiple times last night. Jeez. And now for the news.
You got it? And then you see the share button.
Kat, you've got one. You don't need it necessarily. I mean, it'll allow you to hear everything, but probably okay.
But share with me and then because I got to hop on and accept it.
How do I share it? This one?
Yeah.
It's like not letting me. Hold on, this.
Carol Dye, thank you. Carol's tuning in. Carol's tuning in. Hey, Carol. Carol, here's Karen behind us. Hey, hey. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I can tag you.
Tag me.
Okay.
How did we share it?
How do I do that? How do I do? Oh, no, I can share it now. I think I can. Is that the share?
Yeah, hit that. Share with Christian, share with... Or Christian, you running your separate one?
Folks, we need you out there sharing everything. We need you out there talking it up. We want you to call in. We want to hear what you want to hear, what you're concerned about, what worries you, what keeps you up at night, where's your pain. If you're living in the city, we know some of those things. We touch on some of those things in the show, but we really want to hear from you. This is a show really about giving Baltimore a voice, and so we want to hear from you.
Who's that?
The girl you talked to.
Oh, just check. That's funny.
Yeah, you invited me, I see it.
What does that mean? Does that help you?
So it'll just air live on Taylor's.
If I invite him to it?
So it's going to run through my page also.
Okay, oh, it says it.
But I'm going to go.
Hey, who's this?
Do you have your portable charger?
Christian, Lauren, John, Carla. Hey guys.
Dad, do you have your portable charger?
I do.
What's your battery life?
Oh, my portable charger? You know what? That's in the car. In my briefcase. I got my plug-in one. I got that one. My portable one's in the car too. I mean, you could, I think, unless it's in my bag here. You go look at my bag.
I'll just run it live until it dies.
Look at my bag and see if it's there. It's like a square. It's like just a power pack thing.
I know, but I need to.
You don't think so? I probably left it because my phone was charged. We got 6 minutes in the first, so when I go on, we're going to be on for 6 minutes before we go to a break. But you guys don't have to worry about that. I do.
Sunday, 55 showers kind of ending and 59 degrees and sunshine out Monday, Tuesday. I'm Scott Martin, more to other channels for Talk Radio.
We're on the Bob Paff Show. It's a great show. A lot of open dialogue. And we're not going to be on the whole time. The other content's going to be more interesting than what we have to say. So listen anyway. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're going live.
Listen to AM 680 or stream us on your PC, tablet, or phone at WCBM.com. The views
People are chiming in, they're waving.
Okay, guys, we're getting close. All right.
Are not necessarily those of the owners, management,
Here we go.
Dad, we got some people here looking at you. We got Clint McGuire's out there.
Here we go. Get ready, guys. Hey folks, Bob Paff here. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday night. I know you've got other things that you can be doing, but you're driving down the road and you're tuned in. We've got a God, if you could see this room, if you could see what I see in front of me, we've got a sea of successful entrepreneurs and business folks. It's a small business night. So we're going to talk about small business. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. I want to get somebody on here really quick. Kat is going to talk. Kat's with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Those of you who know me know that suicide prevention is my thing, for lack of a better expression. There's a big walk in town, Kat, November the 3rd, right? And we've got Team Paff. Taylor Paff and I have joined up, and we're using our June birthdays. That's how this whole thing really got started. But suicide prevention is very near and very dear to our family. Kat, I know you don't have a lot of time tonight, but it's very important. Can you tell us about what's going on? Talk about the November 3rd walk. What do you want our listeners to know about suicide prevention in Maryland?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Bob, for your support. This has been amazing. So we will meet on November 3rd at 8 a.m., so early and bright, to walk against suicide. So we raise awareness for suicide prevention and mental health. And this is a free event, but it is a fundraiser, so if you have a couple dollars to spare, we would appreciate it. When you come, you register, you get honor beads, so those are Mardi Gras beads. You have 9 different colors, each represents a loss or you struggle with mental health. And then we will have an opening ceremony where we will do an honor bead ceremony. So we have 9 members of our community up on stage. They share their story, either of their loss or their struggle. But those are messages of hope. And that's what we want to make sure, that people know this is a hopeful event. Even if you experience a suicide or if you struggle, there is hope.
Kat, terrific. Can you do me a favor, an important thing? Where is this event?
It is at Rashfield in
Rashfield in the Inner Harbor. Okay, and that's November 3rd. We got a lot of things to get in tonight. So important, folks. Listen to that. You can find us all over the web. Find myself or find Taylor, Team Paff. Come down and join us. Rashfield, November 3rd, which is Saturday, right? Starts at 8 o'clock. How soon do people need to get there to register real quick, Kat?
Well, you can register between 8 and 9:30, but it should be there around 9:30. You can register online to make it faster.
Okay.
It's afsp.org/Baltimore.
Wonderful.
And then just come and join us.
And how much money are we trying to raise? $250,000? Half?
We try to raise $80,000 with $40,000.
Zach Bryant's got that. I mean, I think with Zach Bryant, his clients are out there listening. I think, you know, so Zach's good for that. Go ahead.
We only have $40,000 to go, but I mean, Baltimore can do so much more. In Annapolis, we raised $175,000.
So we can beat it. All right, folks, you heard it out there. Kat's got to go. Thanks for joining us so much. November 3rd, be there at Rashfield to help us walk out of the darkness for suicide prevention. Kat, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. All right, folks, real quick, I want to thank our sponsors, and we've got some of our sponsors in the studio with us tonight. We have Tony and Cheeto Scotto, who are joining us from GHB. Yay, big for GHB, bacon, bagel, and boobs. I love that. I was holding up my shirt earlier, and so we've got you guys. And listen, thank you so much for the sponsorship and the support. Tony, I tell everybody all the time, we didn't even meet. And you guys are like, I'm in. And so that really touches my heart. So these guys, you know, folks, they've got 4 locations now, I think, right? You've got 2 in Baltimore City, and we're going to talk about that, all right, in just a little bit. We've got Zach Bryant, and I want to get all these names right. Alex is over here from Fairway Mortgage Corp with Taylor Paff is joining us, and Christian Kahn. Did I get that right? I've got you guys as well. So we've got a room full of business owners and entrepreneurs. So we want to talk about that. I want to thank, while we're thanking the sponsors, Maria's out there, Chef Maria from Cipriana. We've got Fairway Mortgage Corp, that's a sponsor. We've just brought on a new sponsor. I'm so excited to have Dr. Mark Domansky, who's a plastic surgeon in the Arlington, Northern Virginia, D.C. area, has come on board as a sponsor, and I've known Mark since he was a little medical student, and now he's this fancy plastic surgeon, and he's going to be joining us. So super excited. So to my sponsors, really thank you. We couldn't be here without you. So THB, Fairway, thank you guys so much for being here. So, all right, so let's talk really quick. I sort of want to recap what's going on in Baltimore. This is a show. We've got a couple more minutes, and we're going to go to a break, but we're going to cover a lot of things. We like to find people doing things good. with positive things that are happening in Baltimore. There are a lot of negative things that are in Baltimore. I want to share a positive thing. The University of Maryland is putting up a new building, a $305 million new building on the west side of town, which is so important because that's where all the development needs to occur, on the west side. But Dr. Albert Reese, who's the dean of the medical school at the University of Maryland, I've had a pleasure of meeting him as I've served on the board of the Children's Hospital at the University of Maryland, so it's near and dear to me. So that's terrific news. We're excited about that. Shows that are coming up. We're going to talk next week, Life After 50. We're going to talk to folks who have reinvented or transformed themselves. Maybe they've gone through some kind of a negative experience. They've bounced back from that. A lot of these things happen in your 50s, folks. I'm 58, and so I'm going to open up. We're going to speak to you next week about that. We're going to have Kevin Davis. Kevin Davis is the former police commissioner who was fired by the mayor. We're going to have Kevin in here, and I'm going to devote the whole hour to Kevin Davis and safety and crime in Baltimore City. And Tony and Sheila, I want to talk to you guys about that because it's all over the place, and it's a big thing that we're dealing with. We're going to have the Secretary of Commerce, Mike Gill, is going to be joining us in the studio on November 30th, along with Bob Carrott, who is the Chancellor of the University of Maryland. So honored and so touched. The Gatekeepers. Those of you, I heard there's some quiet out there. The Gatekeepers is a Netflix series that really touches on the abuse, some of the abuse that went on in the Catholic Church in the 60s and the 70s. So we've got a lot of things going on. This is a variety show. It is not a political show. We'll touch on some political things. For those of you who know me, you know I love this guy, Ben Sasse. I'm going to be at the National Press Club next week to hear Senator Sasse talk about why we hate each other. Imagine that we hate each other and all this vitriol and all this fighting that's going on. This is a variety show. We're going to talk about business. We're going to probably have to come back on the other side of this break, guys, and we're going to bring you in. But we're going to talk to Zach. We'll bring Alex and Taylor in. We're going to talk to Christian. We're going to talk to Cheeto and Tony about what it's like. Think about this, guys. Or we come back on the other side of the break. Owning a small business in Baltimore or in Maryland. How do you find good talent? So if our folks are listening out there, maybe they want jobs. How do you find good talent? How do you motivate people? It's hard these days. Listen, my first job was setting up bowling pins in the basement of a church in Highlandtown. I made $3 a night. Nobody wants to do that kind of stuff anymore, right? Yep. Everybody wants it handed to them, Tony, don't they?
Oh, yes, definitely.
But they're not willing to work for it. They're not willing to sacrifice for it. And you guys are putting it on the line every day out there. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit when we come back on the other side of the break. You're tuning into the Bob Paff Show. Give us a call, 922-6680-410 or 800. We'll be back in just a little bit. All right, guys, we're going to go right to you, and this is I had to get all of that in.
And it's whatever.
I had to get all of that in.
I can tell we're all going to fit in. That's a good topic.
Thank you, Kat.
Great topic.
Right?
Motivate. How do you find talent?
Kat, thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but we could have done a whole thing on that. Boom. We got to move. Thank you.
But you'll hear it.
Yes, yes.
Say what's up.
Hey, Zach's live Facebook.
We got Tony and Cheeto. There you go. Asani. Cameron. Everybody.
Okay, guys.
And now more of the Bob Paff Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Hey folks, Bob Paff here. Thanks for coming back to us. We've got this is kind of, let's call it like small business night or small business show. So we've got Tony and Cheeto Scotto. We've got Zach Bryan here with us. We've got Christian Kahn, Alex Mavroulis. Did I say that right? Right? Taylor Paff is with us as well from Fairway Mortgage Corp. Let's talk about small business and a couple things we can talk about here, guys. How do you attract good employees? What do you do to motivate them? What are some of the issues that you deal with as far as crime in the city? And Zach, in your case, you're buying and selling homes. You've got people that maybe are relocating. I remember a conversation I had with a friend who works at Under Armour, and Under Armour I know was having trouble recruiting people in here because when you watch CNN or you watch Fox and you see, listen, we just got compared to Honduras this week as far as the crime here. Not a good thing. The USAA today just said Baltimore is the 3rd most dangerous city in the country. So how do we combat things like that? Tony, you've got a store on, tell us where your stores are real quick, Tony.
So we have Towson, Timon, Canton, and Charleston.
Okay, and
2 in the city, yes.
2 in the city. Now, Tony, does that present a special challenge for you having 2 businesses in the city versus your Baltimore County locations?
Honestly, yes.
We want the honesty, Tony. All right, tell us why.
Why? I mean, many reasons. Definitely, like employee-wise, it's a little bit harder.
To find and attract employees? Okay, all right. Okay.
The way that the transportation-wise, it's even harder.
All right.
You know, then the parking, so that for the public transportation.
Okay.
It's it's a really tough, especially on the weekends.
Right.
And sometimes they're late. It's not their fault. But,
Right.
Still, like we have a business.
That's right. That's right.
So it's that. It's just that the kids sometimes, I don't want to say they don't really want to work, but they think that life is whatever is on social media, which is we all know it's not.
That's right.
So you know, it's hard to motivate them, and sometimes hard to talk to them. I mean, it's a generation thing, I guess.
Yeah.
You gotta really be a coach, and sometimes they have to see you as a mentor more than just a boss.
So give us an idea of some of the things maybe that you do to motivate people. It's got to be a function of good management and good ownership, right? You're the leader. It starts at the top, Tony.
Yes, that's at the top. And we have something in place. It's called EDM. It's called Employee Development Meeting. We ask our managers to really sit down and talk to our managers, not just about the work stuff. It's also about personal stuff sometimes. Because, we try to say, personal stuff out the door, but it's impossible. You know what I mean?
People bring that to work with them,
Correct.
right? You try to draw that line, but it's hard to do that.
So we try to listen sometimes, most of the times.
Right. Right. All right. What about the crime issue? Any issues with customers coming in? Like people don't feel safe?
We had actually a few complaints about homeless people around.
Ah, interesting. Big problem in Baltimore City. Okay.
And we had some customers that didn't like that. I mean, we do our best. Sometimes we give food for free, but we try that. We see that the more we give out, the more we see them. And
that's right.
Our customers don't like that. So we have,
it's a catch-22. It's a fine line that you're walking there as business owners, right?
Yes.
You want to give back to the community. You want to give back to everybody. You want to be a good business owner. But where do you kind of draw that line? It's very difficult. You got a business to run.
Correct. But you also have a heart. So you want to, you have to balance. So we're talking, the next few weeks we're going to go out and try to help the homeless and, give them the food and, trying to do our best. But, we can do.
That's right. So I think my platform is communicating to win, and I think really all of the stuff that we're talking about, guys, it's about engagement. It's about being present. Okay, and so we got about a minute left, and I don't want to put the pressure on you two guys over here. Your problems probably are different, Zach, right? But how do you find good people? How do you motivate people? What are some problems that you see?
About the city. I mean, I grew up in Baltimore City.
Okay.
So, the key right now is that it is a little bit fragmented, both physically and I think economically. We can all agree. And so I think what you need to have a very good knowledge of the city and what's going on, and you need to study the market.
Right.
That's just the Baltimore City piece. I think that you can be as successful right now as you ever could be, and there's an opportunity right now to get a lot of market share because there's turnover in the business when there's a lot of inventory. And we have an opportunity, and we're looking forward to growing our business in some of the areas where people don't necessarily want to be.
Yeah.
And then on the motivating people side of things, I think it comes down to expectations. And Christian and I, we have the same vision for what we want our business to look like.
Okay.
So what we do is we just try to attract people, like you said, and we're like, this is the trajectory that we're on. You can jump on board.
And not everybody's a fit for you. We're going to run out of time. We'll pick it up on the other end of the break. But not everybody's a fit. I tell people all the time is, I don't need your business. I want your business. It's got to be a good fit. A lot of times people see dollar signs. They see that opportunity, but they're blinded by all the other pieces. So great. We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. We got to take a break right now. We'll be back. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show. We're here with the owners of THB. We're in Fairway Mortgage Corp. We've got Zach Bryant and his partner here with us. So we'll be back in just a little bit, folks. Stay tuned.
Your team improve your relationships or become become a more effective, persuasive, and passionate speaker? Tired of doing the same old things and expecting a different result?
How do you know the time is like running out?
She'll tell me a minute, but then I just gotta know.
She tells you in the headset.
No, I don't hear anything. I have to know. I just have to know.
I'm like looking around for like a clock or something. I'm like, how do you know
It's
this
all up here.
about the
So that's the challenge, is because I gotta coordinate, bring in, bring out, and everything else.
I know you just put your stuff right there, but it's just like
Who is it?
I can put your stuff where I was
Who
sitting.
did you, I don't know what that
Dude, try to throw. Try to throw with
If you're looking for a wonderful dining experience,
Here's that Cipriana commercial.
Let's see who we got.
Chef Maria produces the city's
Damian Box there.
Isn't
Michael
it great?
Reuter's in here. Simi, Danny Rush.
So does the same ones that are on mine, because it's showing up on yours too.
Mine's on. I got Instagram. I'm just giving everyone some love.
You do. So you do more food.
and they're legendary falafel. Voted Baltimore's best multiple times, located in the historic Tuscan Canterbury neighborhood. Cipriana boasts a world-class kitchen and a warm and welcoming.
Friday Night Live, somebody's calling it. Love it.
Do you know Nick owns Bagel Bistro?
For reservations, call 410-837-7482 or visit Cipriana.com. Cipriana Restaurant.
Yeah, it's a good place. I go there and I go to THB. Couple days a week.
This is Peter French, Comptroller of the State of Maryland. I supported R.J. Fisher for the election of sheriff of Baltimore. Sheriff R.J. Fisher has
Old Hartford and Johnson.
Zach, I'll come to you guys, you and Christian, if you want. This will be your opportunity just to talk about who you're with. I'm going to throw it to you. You guys can say, if you want to say Northrop, if you want to say your group, whatever you guys want to say, this will be your opportunity to do that. I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of turnover. There is in your business. I've got my real estate license. I might throw that out there. We'll talk about communication and all those issues. And so you guys can bring that up because it's a big problem in your business. You got lots of moving parts. You got these guys, you got all these other players. When I sold insurance, it was me, the client, and the underwriter, and that was it. And I kind of controlled the whole thing. And that's it. You guys had a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
to
Zach, while you're talking, you can just throw in how great of a communicator I am.
I will.
Like, talk about me.
I will.
Talk only about me.
It's the Taylor pass and the Bob pass.
Tony, I'm going to go to them, okay, and we'll come back to you guys. All right. The rest of the show's about you guys. I'll make it work. Okay.
What was I doing?
No, I'm just saying because I'm trying to get better for you, so you're set it up. You're a good Christian.
That's 410-525-5232 or USAinsulation.net.
I wrote down that was that a race?
What's that?
November 3rd.
It's a walk. It's a walk out of the darkness for suicide prevention. Yeah, it's a walk. It's a family kind of a fun sort of event. Taylor, are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Are you gonna go to that?
Yeah,
Darkness thing?
Yeah, because I have to. I'm a team.
We're a team.
Yeah, and I love walking.
You do?
I love to walk. Yeah. You don't have to run, so
you can lime.
Yeah, we'll get a scooter out.
Somebody was telling me
I have my razor.
people falling off.
Yeah, there's been some companies won't let.
Stand by, folks. Here we go.
Yeah.
Talk Radio 680, WCBM, and WCBM.com.
And now more of the Paff Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Hey folks, Bob Paff here. Thanks for joining us. Listen, we're here to take your calls. If you want to call in, you want to talk to these guys, tell Tony what your favorite bagel is. I mean, right? People have favorite bagels and bagel sandwiches and things like that. Give us a call at 410-922-6680. We're going to go to Zach Bryant and his partner. Did I say that right? Christian Kahn. We're going to talk to you guys. I'll let you introduce yourself. I know there's Long & Foster, there's Northrop Realty. You guys have a partnership.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to talk to you guys, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. My platform's all about communication. I've got my real estate license, I've had my securities license, and I had my insurance license, and I built and ran a very successful insurance firm with clients all over the country. My whole platform is really communication and engagement. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've done a little bit of the research. The number one complaint in your industry, guys, is communication. I hear it all the time. I hear it from other agents. Agents don't return phone calls. Okay, the egos for a lot of agents wouldn't fit into the room. I'm sorry, guys, I hear a lot about that. I've made a lot of money in my life, who cares? But I'm not defined by that. I'm defined by giving back and what we do and paying it forward. What makes you guys different? I want you to talk about that. I also want you to talk about, as we said before the break, there are a lot of moving parts to your industry. You need the Taylor Paffs and the Alex Marvulus from Fairway Mortgage. You need those guys.
Yeah.
They're on your team, right?
Yeah.
And listen, I dance with the people who bring me. I've always done that. I've never, when somebody asks me for a referral, it's a cop-out in my opinion. I sold life insurance, so it's right up there with cars and other things. Somebody asks me for a referral, I give them one. I say, go to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't send them to 5 different people. Nobody has the time or the interest to do that. So, you know, I've asked you a lot of things here. What makes you guys different?
Yeah.
How do you view the whole team concept? Who are your go-to people? There's a chapter in my book, Who's on Your Team. Talk about that a little bit, Zach.
Yeah. So, I mean, our partnership is, you know, like the bedrock of the team, meaning that, you know, we're on the same page with what we want to accomplish, you know, and we kind of have different roles, and Christian and I, personalities are different as well, but the other side of that is with our clients, and what makes us different is, you know, we want to be professionals,
okay.
and we want to be referred by people not because we ask, but because we're doing the best job. And when they think about real estate, they think about us. And in order to do that from a communication perspective is, just like hiring, you have to set the expectations and you have to have a plan. Because communication and working with somebody, say, to sell a house,
right.
You have a game plan. If you don't come with a game plan, they're not going to trust you. And so we try to stay organized. We try to stay professional and obviously ethical. Oh. But we love what we do, and we love helping people. And from a team perspective, Northrop Realty was formerly Long and Foster, was the Craig Northrop team.
Yep. Okay.
And so the only thing that changed was we went from a team to a brokerage, which gave us the idea to, hey, start our own team and kind of duplicate some of what Craig did. But back to Taylor, and it's funny because THB is equally important because we have a lot of meetings at places like that, and the THB and Timonium. I get
you're all small business owners. You need to be supporting one another, right?
I get the whole wheat everything.
You get the whole wheat everything. Folks, you hear that? Zach Bryant likes the whole wheat everything.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Noted.
So, and that's probably your most popular. So in with Taylor and Alex, I mean, their biggest, I think, asset is they care about the clients and they communicate. They stay on top of everything. They organize the transaction, and they're just a pleasure to work with. And so I think if you can maintain a positive attitude and you're willing to work through problems with people, but actually work, you know, there's something that we don't like in real estate, and it's called radio silence. If you're a seller, you haven't heard from your agent, that's not a good thing.
No, not a good thing.
Because people get anxiety over that.
Right.
So I'll kick it to Christian, you know, kind of see.
Well, it's all about setting the expectations, guys. And let me ask you, Christian, I'll flip it to you. Is everybody 1 minute? See how quickly this stuff goes? We got 1 minute. Now 50 seconds. So is everybody a client for you guys? Do you want everybody's business? Is it kind of like don't leave a dollar on the table sort of thing, guys? Be honest. Talk to that.
No, and that's one thing that when Zach and I partnered up, I'll try to make this.
Yeah.
Point. When we partnered up, it was about having the same foundation, the same morals, values, and then also having the same long-term vision. And with that, if you want to stay true to that, you don't want, not everybody is a good fit. And
that's right.
That's one of the first things I'll tell somebody when I sit down with them is, I'm here to see if I'm a good fit for your needs,
right?
And if we can work together. And it's not everybody,
right?
You know, we do things a specific way, and you know.
And it's about being honest and truthful, because I remember in my business, some of the most fun I had was actually firing clients. You know, I'd reached a point, I remember firing this guy, and I said, you know, we've reached a point in the relationship where I can no longer service your needs. He was a local CPA. I won't share his name. I'll tell you off camera, off the. But anyway, and he said, you're firing me. And I said, no, I'm not firing you. We've just reached a point in the relationship that I can't give you what you need. And I referred him to a buddy of mine who wasn't very happy about the referral. But anyway, not all personalities mesh. Zach, you said you guys have different personality styles, and those things are important. The same thing with clients. And Tony, you guys are in the customer service business. People are tough, right? Folks, he's got a smile on his face. You can't see it on the radio. So listen, we're going to come back on the other side. The time is flying. Thank you so much for tuning up, guys. We're going to pick it up on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show. Thanks so much. Good job, guys. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thanks, Tom.
Directed outer loop 795 toward Route 40, inner loop Washington Boulevard toward Security.
We got Ann Stuzen out there tuning in.
Ann Stuzen! Hey, Ann! You know what I'm going to ask you guys? I want to know, what are some of the common things that entrepreneurs share? I mean, you know, passion was one of the things but what are some of the things
well, I think successful, like you guys have the processes down. Like I was saying, they're always overstaffed.
Right.
And it's such a smooth operation. They have a standard of how you do things.
Yeah.
And that's super important. That's like us. Like your values. You have values.
Again, the business is the same. Doesn't matter if it's a big or
Yeah. Organize it. Yeah. Well, you walk in and as a business owner, that's the kind of stuff you notice where somebody else might not think about that. But I'm looking, who's doing what? How quickly do they come to the back to the register? How many registers do you have open? That's one thing. If you have 3 open, you can service more than 2. I mean, when you get bottlenecks, you must have to have. Right. Now, what percentage of your business is like they call ahead? Or do online?
Hey, Maria. Fred Fernie. Fred Fernie just tuned in.
Should I sit over in front of a mic? Should I sit in front of a mic?
What's that?
Should I sit in front of a mic?
If you want to talk, why don't you sit over there? Just sit over there.
Should I?
Yeah, of course. Of course. You got a chair? Gonna kick Karen out and put her over here?
Do you do rub home? So you deliver.
I order up all things.
Every Saturday morning.
Every Saturday morning.
Apparently there's some new food service that delivers stuff. I don't know. Not so much.
They're better.
Quick?
I think so. I mean, I use it myself.
Yeah. Is it like Uber where somebody random just drives
Folks, we'll be back in just a little bit, just on the other side of this break. Thank you so much for tuning in.
The guy that started.
Why are they there? Because you said it's like, he started.
Thanks, Ann.
Improve your relationships and become a more effective, persuasive, and passionate speaker. Do the same things and expecting a different result.
It's running low, huh?
And keep communicating in ways
Oh, there we go.
become effective. To lead a more peaceful, productive, and engaging life, focused on reaching all your personal and professional goals.
They try to scale too fast.
And they lose value. In business, Bob's best-selling on Amazon.com or bobpath.com.
That's what they focus on.
Hey, folks, if you're out there listening, want to remind you of the walk. Walk Out of the Darkness for Suicide Prevention is November 3rd. If you haven't registered yet, please do so. We're calling it Team Paff. Taylor Paff and myself will be down at Rashfield. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're raising a lot of money. We're raising awareness for suicide prevention. So we really want to get you out there and get you involved in that. So please support the Out of the Darkness walk next Saturday, November 3rd at Rashfield.
We can sell 20 houses.
Hey guys, what does the city need to be? We always talk about this. I'm going to bring this back. A city needs to be just a couple things. We have so much talent in the studio tonight. I'm not able to get to a lot of the things I normally talk about. There's so much. Karen was just asking me, how do I do that and how do I know these things, right? It's like, ugh, we're all over the place. But it's good stuff. Keep it moving. Happy to see so many of you weighing in. Julie Slick, Michelle Campisi. Love you guys down there in New Orleans that are tuning in. We've got folks tuning in from California and Florida and Ohio, New Jersey, New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Love all of you guys.
How was your birthday?
It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like fun.
Yeah, but I was ready for bed at midnight.
Really?
Yeah.
You're getting old. You're 30 now.
29. It was the last one before 30. Everyone, I know everyone was like,
if you put 30, people are going to think
just say the 30. It was the last one before 30. So everyone's like, you're 30 now. I'm like, no. And one friend came out. He never comes out. And he's like, I only came out because I turned 30. And then my other friend was like, it's not. He got so mad. He's like,
I took that as meaning like you were going to turn 30 later that day. Like, it was like the day of.
Stand by, guys. Here we go. Tony, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to go to you. Okay?
And now more of the Bob Paff Show on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Hey folks, Bob Paff here. We've got such a packed studio tonight as I look around this room and all the amazing talent and the good hearts and people. We have people in this room who are giving back to the city. People who are committed to the city. Zach, it sounds like you and I grew up in the same neighborhood. I was in Herring Run Park the other day, and for those of my friends out there, St. Wenceslaus, St. Francis, the Shrine of the Little Flower, Herring Run Park. Folks, I'm a city guy. I know a lot of you look at me, and I did play a congressman on House of Cards, but, you know, I was born next to Johns Hopkins Hospital and played in Bocheck Park off of Edison Highway, and I went to Lake Clifton High School, so I know a lot of you have just dropped your phones or dropped your drinks or whatever like that, but it's true. I'm surrounded by a talented group of people, sponsors who really are committed to giving back to the city. And Tony, I want to send it to you because one of the things that let me hold this up. Everybody knows this about me, and 3 words really kind of define me. Let's see if I can remember them all: grassroots, organic, and cobbled together. You know, I've done a couple Facebook Live videos, and I posted my stage. You know what my stage is? My laundry basket and my coffee canister.
I saw that.
Right?
Yep.
But that, to me, guys, I'm sorry, you know, I'm a simple little guy from East Baltimore. So honored and touched, and for me, it's all about service and giving back to community and taking care of your clients. So when somebody says jump to me, I say how high. My ego's fine. Like, what do you need me to do to make this work? But a city needs to be 2 things, and it needs to be safe and clean. So I'm sorry this isn't sexier, but safe and clean is what a city needs to be. And we're going to change it for you guys. Tony, what are the we talked about the challenges. Talk to me a little bit about your expansion plans. You've got 4 stores. I've heard rumblings of going into D.C., maybe Rockville. What are the plans for the future?
Yeah, so we actually, right now, my brother is looking deciding other.
Right now, he's sitting next to you as we're looking. Look at that. Come on, Cheeto.
He's meeting every day, but I will not say where.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, it's coming, and we have the plan. I mean, we really spent the last 4 years to build the structure. We were talking before about the structure and the system.
And when was THB founded? Back it up a little bit for our listeners.
So it started in 1999.
1999.
10 years ago was when me, my brother, my cousin, and my sister, we bought the first store. And
so you didn't start it. You bought it out, and you've expanded it, right?
Expanded, yeah. It was
okay.
Like first seeds, they had a great product. So that's one thing we never changed the product.
Right.
The recipe and everything.
Yeah.
But we expanded and we opened 3 more stores. We opened a commissary, making the production in one place to make sure that we have food consistency. And so the last 4 years, we started building the systems that will take us to 10, 20 stores.
And so Tony, one of the things I'm hearing you saying, it's about finding what you do, doing that right? Being consistent with what your product is. Right. And maybe you guys are going to expand the menu a little bit, but a lot of times we veer off into things that we have no business doing. So it's find what you're doing, and do it well.
I mean, you gotta do what you do. I mean,
Right?
As you were saying, a lot of people sometimes, they do.
Let me try this.
They burger. No, I mean,
Right.
no. You gotta know who you are.
That's right.
That's the most important part.
That's right.
Know who you are and what keeps you alive. And then you build systems. You have the passion to build those systems because every time. I was listening to Tony Robbins say every time you do something, you have a problem, then you find a solution, then guess what? You have more problems. So
That's right.
You keep fixing those problems. That's why you do it, and you become better and better and better because you have the passion inside. And that's the one thing that the energy that we have it, and like my brothers, my brother, my sister, and all my stuff.
So this is a family business.
Oh yes, yes. We say we are family business. We are family business with a corporate mentality.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So if our listeners out there, because I want to get all this stuff in before we run out of time, if there was something that our listeners needed to know about THB, what would you want them to know?
I'm
sorry to throw that to you, but okay.
That's tough. So
consistent product.
Do our best. I mean, we sometimes we make mistakes as everybody else, but we always challenge ourselves to do better. That's the only thing we never change.
Okay. All right, terrific. One of the things I want to talk about too is like your workforce. One of the things that frustrates me, we're going to talk about life after 50, is we in this country don't really value our senior workforce. Are you get older folks coming who are maybe retired, semi-retired, that are coming to you? I mean, give me the demographic of who works for you.
Actually, I was reading a few days ago, the industry is a lot of turnover.
Yes, that's right.
And a lot of older, like senior people,
yes.
They say they want to jump in and they need to work. Yeah, I mean, we really don't care about the age they communicate.
So it's the attitude, right, that you're looking for, right?
The energy that they bring.
The work ethic?
Yep. Yeah, the energy. Like, sometimes we say we sell smiles.
We sell smiles. You hear that, folks?
It's a breakfast
I love that.
place, right? Like you got to give positive energy, right?
That's right.
So if they have the energy, that's it. If they have the energy, they have it.
I love that.
We can teach all the rest.
Folks, if you're listening out there, because I'm 58 years old, and so this kind of stuff is near and dear to me. We're going to dedicate a show to this kind of thing because the workforce is really changing. Baby boomers, they're the largest segment of the population, followed very closely by millennials. But, there are a lot of people out there who want to work, have that work ethic. I told you about my $3, I'm really dating myself, setting up those bowling pins. But I'm telling you, man, there were only 5 lanes. It was 3 lanes. It was a tough job to get. It meant that some 12-year-old had to die, move away, or get fired. And the likelihood of any 3 of those wasn't happening. So when you got that chance to set up those bowling pins at the end of the night, 1, 2, 3 on Conklin Street, and then we went to the White Tower to buy a bag of hamburgers and got change. You were excited to have that work. We've lost that, guys, in this country. I don't know if you see it, Zach, and Kristen, I don't know if you guys see it, but we've lost that work ethic. We've lost that sense of pride. We've lost that sense of value, Zach.
Blue-collar values.
I love that. Blue-collar value, right?
Which is what, I grew up in the city, and my parents taught me that, and they became successful entrepreneurs in their 40s. But when we were young, we struggled.
That's right.
So all we had was our education. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they taught us to, if you want something, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
And things aren't given to you. And I think you have to have what that created with Christian, because he's the same way. And it's a culture and it's an expectation. So when people are in our culture, similar to what Tony was talking about, there's an expectation of the attitude, the type of mentality that they had. They have to be growth-minded, an abundant mindset.
You have to have a servant leader, service mentality, I look at myself, I've been the president, the founder, and the CEO, but I work for you. I mean, I tell people all the time, I work for my clients. You guys work for your customers. What do you need me to do? I would say to people all the time, if this relationship's going to be successful 6 months from now, what will we... what has to happen for this to have been successful, for it to work for you? Forget about what do you need? One of the things I tell people is, what's the best form of communication? You guys who know me know I'm a big texter. Set those expectations. You talked about that earlier, right? It's all about setting expectations.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you want to communicate with young kids.
That's right.
I think you find a way.
Well, and I'll tell you, too, it's frustrated me. I've got 6 kids, and so I've got 2 in their 30s, 20s, and their teens. We all communicate differently, and one of the things I hear, certain age brackets are really good communicators. Maybe not so much, but one of the things I think we need to drill down to is, what's the preferred mode of communication for you?
Yes, how they communicate.
How they communicate. Tony, you and I will text a lot, and you're great, and respond, That's how I like to communicate. Nothing replaces a conversation or a meeting face-to-face, but again, communication and engagement. What works for you? and to humble yourself. I'm all about the humility and the transparency, guys. It's really what it's about. What can I do to take care? Was this a good experience for you? I'm sure you have questionnaires and follow-up, and you guys probably have all that.
Method of that's what I ask.
Right?
How would you like to be communicated
That's
with?
right.
Because I can do anything.
And it could be entirely different from yours.
Right, exactly.
I don't know if you guys have read The 5 Love Languages, one of my favorite books. It's really no different from a professional perspective. What's, Christian, I would say, what's your love language? Well, physical touch or acts of service or quality time. Our customers and our clients are no different, folks. How's the best way that we can, that we can serve you? We got to be able to communicate those things. All right. We're going to come back in just a little bit. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show, WCBM 680. We'll talk to you soon. Woo! You guys are challenging me to get all this in, but I think we're doing it. What's that? The love language? See that, man?
Feels like you have more time.
What's that?
Feels like you have more time.
You know what, Taylor? I think you're right. Last time, and it was just you and I in here. We didn't have any guests in here. I agree with you. And that.
No, it's not charging.
No. It was just he and I, and it went. Didn't it go fast? I mean, he was saying that.
Good job, Taylor. I heard you on that. Thank you.
I put Taylor on the mic last week. His mom was listening to it. We've got another intern who's joining us from Bryn Mawr in a couple of weeks.
But I was thinking when I was at my house. The kids used to work. You learn a lot of things when you got kids.
Taylor,
Yes.
yours is about to die.
That's right.
That's what I like about maybe it's a different cultures.
That's right.
People have Italian,
yes.
Different cultures.
Were you guys born here? Coming right back, guys. Here we go. Hey folks, Bob Paff again. Let me, for those of you who are just joining us, and I can't imagine, I know you've all been tuning in since 6 o'clock, because we've got listeners from as far west as California. I want to give a big hearty thank you. For those of you who know me, the humility, the transparency, all of those things. I'm so grateful to Tony and Cheeto for being in here from THB, who signed on early on. They're like, Bob, we're in and we're with you. And Fairway Mortgage Corp, I've got Alex and I've got Taylor Paff in here, and I'm so grateful for you guys. Is really what I'm calling my platform sponsors, and it really means a lot to me. And I think you know that we're sitting here eye to eye. It really means a lot. Thank you so much, Tony. You and I were chatting about some things, and you guys are from Italy, so you're not, right?
Correct. Yes, we came here about 10 years ago.
Okay. Wow. So one of the things that we as a father of 6 kids, my father was gone by the time I was 10 years old. So I grew up in East Baltimore. I took 2 buses across the inner city of Baltimore to get to St. Wenceslas. From the time I was in the 1st grade. My mother had to work. It's what we did. My mother grew up in Locust Point. When we got home, we just had to call and say that we were home. I was a latchkey kid before anybody knew what that meant. And so I'm reading a great book right now about letting our kids fail. And for those of you who have children, I think we've provided too much almost of a safety net. I tell my kids all the time, listen, I live in Roland Park, and it's a wonderful historic community. I didn't grow up in Roland Park, so I'm saying this to you guys with pride. My kids have all grown up in Roland Park. That's different than my dynamic. And so, but what's made me who I am is that failure, or those life experiences. It's having to pick yourself up. Dad was gone by the time he was 10. He did not come back into my life until the end of his. The last 2 years of my dad's life, when he was sick and needed somebody to take care of him and pay for his funeral, guess who got the phone call? And guess who stepped up the plate and did the right thing because it's the right thing? That was 1991. But talk about that for a little bit if you can. And you guys come from a different culture. And so what was the biggest maybe shock for you coming here from Italy? 10 years ago is not that long, guys. What have you seen the differences maybe in the and give it to us straight, the difference between maybe the American culture and the Italian or the European culture?
Well, when you first come here, you see everything different. But then you see that some things are actually the same, like politics, right? We don't want to talk about politics.
So the fighting and all that kind of stuff, right?
It's all the same. It's all the same. But we grew up, me and my brother, we grew up as a kid. We used to go kind of, not first, but my dad, wanted us to go to work at my grandfather's deli shop, right? At the deli shop. And we were like 10, 12, and we were not doing much. We were just spinning a little bit,
right.
And, eating a sandwich here and there. But he wanted us to do so before, summertime, before we go to the beach or things like that.
Right.
And I didn't like that. I don't like that there. But now I thank you for this.
See that? I love that.
Yeah, I really thank, and if he's listening now, so thank him for that. It really, like, you know, he taught us how, you know, you want something, you gotta get. And I remember the one thing that they always say, if you start something, you
finish it. You finish it, right?
Yeah, until you finish, you know, then you can quit. Then you say, okay, but you gotta get there. And then help, you know, in our business as well, of course. And that's what I think actually, you know, I'm not a father, but that's what I think our kids, you know.
But that's ingrained in you because your father gave that to you. One of my favorite plaques and one of my favorite presidents is Abraham Lincoln, and Lincoln said, "Whatever you are, be a good one," which kind of goes back to what you were saying. And Zach, you talked about it. You talked about those blue collar roots. Man, I'm proud of my blue collar roots. I know you are too. You can't see him, folks. He's nodding his head. I know you're proud of those blue collar roots. You know, I can run into certain crowds, and that's great. And I love and I respect everybody, but I don't really care about what you drive, where you live, you know, how much money you make. Those things really don't matter to me. For me, it's what's in your heart. What have you done for your neighbor? What are you doing? And that's why this country, in my opinion, we're so divided. You know, this book, why we hate each other? Why we hate each other? But the divisiveness. So I think we, sitting around this room, have really an opportunity to lift everybody else up. Guys, that's where you're going to succeed. You want to be known as that good corporate citizen, that good corporate partner, right? That person who gives back, that person who shows up. Isn't it about showing up? I don't know who said that, but most of it is about showing up. We're running out of time. What happened? I need a 2-hour show. Folks, we're going to be right back in just a little bit. We're going to wrap up with this small business meeting tonight. Loving the conversation, loving these folks on my show. We'll be right back with the Bob Paff Show. What's up, guys? We're coming.
When we come back, just to close, I'm good. You can just get him one more word in.
Got it.
And then we're good. I don't even think I've said a lot.
What do you want people to know about you? What if you want to talk about your background? You want to talk about
discipline? He's disciplined. He's like them.
So what I'll ask you, Kristen, is I'll ask you, how do you define success? How do you, right? And so you can talk about the discipline. If I go with that? Okay. Because you're up at 4:30 in the morning, like running 10 miles or something?
Some days.
Some days.
Meditating.
Right? Okay. But I love that because it's different for everybody.
Hassani, the nice thing is you can get all the side talk too. So.
What we saying right now?
No, just in general. You're just rolling, right? You get a lot of your people. James has been locked in. John James.
Did I get the test?
Your wife
No, I went to Penn State.
Your
But I'm from
Bryant commented, and your
I
folks
grew
were
up in northern Malta.
Karen, my foundation.
Hey, it's your ad. No, you're still.
Call Taylor today at 443-931-8808. Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 26.
It's a great commercial.
I mean, I did. Well, maybe I was already.
That's my dad's.
Good show. John James. Yeah, whatever.
We got 3 minutes on this last segment, so it's going to be quick. Okay, I'll give you guys a. Okay. Cool. I'm going to say a couple things, and then Christian, I'm going to go to you.
Join us on November 3rd at Rash Field, Inner Harbor, as we walk to fight suicide. Research, education.
So am I safe to assume that you guys know one another? I know, but the rest of you are just meeting maybe for the first time?
I know everybody.
You know everybody? You know Tony and Cheeto?
Except for, I mean, they helped me out a lot in college, getting us bagels in the morning.
Really? Okay. I'm going to talk about, I don't like the word networking, but I'm going to talk about bringing people together, the value of bringing people together and sharing stories and watching you guys, okay?
I was in high school. Freshman.
There it is.
I graduated at 08.
And I love that. With your voice dropped in there, with that Italian accent and sliced in between mine, it's good. You too. You did make me look good. Thank you, Tony.
I graduated high school in 2000.
Jesus.
Look around the table. It's a blue-eyed table. Everybody. Yeah.
Oh my! Anybody left-handed? I'm the only lefty. I'm the weirdo.
What year was she born in? Like 2000? That's crazy. The people that are born in 2000.
Who's there with us? All right.
What do they say? Like I'm born in 08.
Tyler Tolson's out there, Taylor. Tyler Tolson. All right.
Where are you on? No, we were on.
What's your favorite spot?
and make them one of the loudest voices on my
best friend lives there now.
What is it?
Her boyfriend has to do it.
Where is that in?
Oh, you registered family. Oh, forensic? We want. Okay. Even at what's acapella? It's right up.
So my mom wants to play the
Very good.
And in Egypt, they do the same thing with the armies. My running place when they do it, but they only do
They close it.
thing if you have a brother.
Oh, I love Bocheck Park. Somebody said I love Bocheck Park.
We used to play basketball.
You gotta love it.
Under the bridge.
Yeah.
Ball
That's right.
springs.
Yep.
People used to get water there before it was all polluted.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Somebody has to carry on.
Like with a bucket?
Yeah.
Well, Harry Run, that Hall Springs was there. The water was great. It was just running spring water. Oh my God, it's great.
I wonder what it looks like now.
That was probably like 30 plus years ago. Not that I remember, but.
All right, folks, it's Bob Paff here. Thank you for that, Anita. Anita had to kick me because we were so fired up. We got so many people here. We got so many things to talk about. THB, we got Fairway Mortgage Kurt with us. This has been a wonderful, wonderful show. I want to talk to Christian, our real estate agent with Zach Bryant, the partnership about discipline. And how you guys, well, what are some of the regimens? Christian, let's talk about you. Everybody's kind of pointing the finger like this guy has got systems and discipline in place. What are some of the things that you do on a regular basis to keep you focused?
One of the biggest things is honestly just self-development, and I think that's something any small business owner, any entrepreneur, you have to have that in you, and it's a mixture of having a foundation of a why. What's that why that's going to get you to where you want to go? Whatever you define success as, everybody defines it differently.
Absolutely, it's one of my favorite things to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a right or wrong.
There is a subjective, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think success, in my opinion, success is what do you leave behind? What's the footprint that you leave behind? When you leave this earth, what did you leave behind? What kind of impact did you make? So that's kind of my big goal, my big vision, and I think Zach has a lot of the same values, and that's why we see ourselves, doing this for the long term. But to build something, you need that discipline, you need that grit, you need to be able to fail and keep going and fail and keep going.
And yours is the challenging industry. We're gonna have to have you guys back and talk about. We got about 2 more minutes, and we're gonna wrap this show up. But yours is people doing online stuff, and I'm not gonna name the companies because I don't want to give them any publicity. But everybody's thinking they can do it themselves or FISBOs or whatever. Everybody, right? And so it's a changing industry with a lot of online stuff. But I'm hearing something very consistent among all of you guys. Is the consistency. I hear a lot of giving back. Let's talk about the giving back thing. One of the things that I like, and I love having you all here in the studio with me tonight, is bringing all of you together. And we talked about it. Some of you know each other, but not all of you. But when we leave here, relationships will have been established. And relationships are really what drive us and make us. And so, God, we got a minute to wrap this up. I just can't believe it. So that's the one thing that I consistently hear. Folks, why should you sponsor things? Because it's good for everybody. And what I say to people, and so, Tony, you're here. This is all about THB, and it's about Zach and you and Alex and Taylor and Christian, all of us coming together and supporting each other. And that's how we rise up. The definition of success is help somebody else get where they want to get to, and then you'll do okay. You'll do okay. All right, folks, we have run out of time once again on the Bob Paff Show. I'm so grateful to all of my sponsors. I love all of you guys. I want to get you back in the studio. I could talk all of you individually. Folks, have a great weekend. Have a good week. This is Bob Paff. We're signing off WCBM, the Bob Paff Talk Show. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's finish it up, huh?